Hello and welcome to the weekly Cosmic Dive. For this week, I am Shane Smith, astrologer, and we are going to talk about uh, the key vibrations at play and discover how to work with them in supportive, uplifting ways that strengthen alignment with the natural rhythm and wisdom of the cosmos using vibrational astrology. And at any one given time, there are lots of aspects happening in the sky. You can slice and dice them up in any way you can. And we're going to look at a small sliver of that pie, and we're going to take some cues from what we see in that small sliver of vibration. So there are many vibrations, and we tune into the frequencies like we tune into radio stations. And the question I like to ask is, which frequencies do you choose to frequent? So we do have a choice. So let's look at the now chart. Uh, this is what's going on in the heavens right now as we speak. And what we're looking at is a common 360-degree circle of a horoscope. And this horoscope is for 8 o'clock in the morning in Broomfield, Colorado on January 26th, 2026. And as we can see, there are a number of planets there that are configured close together in the sign of Aquarius. And we know that Aquarius is a freedom-loving, humanitarian sign. And we've got all this energy right there. And I think we can feel some of that energy happening right now. This is a one vibe chart because we're looking at 360 degrees before we start dividing it up, which we'll do in just a moment. We can see that, well, maybe you can't see if you're not an astrologer, but in Aquarius, we do have all these planets lined up pretty close together. Mars, Pluto, Sun, Mercury, and Venus. And then in Pisces, we also see Saturn and Neptune. Uh, they have been dancing together for quite some time and will be conjunct pretty soon in a few weeks. Conjunct meaning they'll be together as we see them in longitude from the Earth. But let's first talk about the Mars-Pluto aspect that is happening right now. It's really close. This is very intense energy. And it is, in some cases, too much energy. It feels like brutal force. And I think we've been seeing some of that in the news, and we're reacting to it. And the key is how we want to react to this kind of energy. We can react in kind, but in a positive way. When we talk about Mars, we're talking about energy. When we're talking about Pluto, we're talking about transformation and deep, intense involvement in that energy with Mars. So it requires a very laser-like kind of perspective on things and action, really, because Mars is the planet of action. Mars and Pluto together can be very, very direct and very insightful and very to the point. And so we need to find ways that we can address things in the world, things in our own life, in that way that is so, boom, right to the heart of the matter. Along with that, and I think this will help us do that, is a Mercury-Venus conjunction. And Mercury-Venus is basically talking about peace talks, talking of peace. Mercury is our expression. Venus is the way we look at beauty and understand love and compassion. Um, and so if we can bring that into play, then we're going to have a very, very powerful way to respond to events in the world and in our lives. Halfway between those two energies is the sun. The sun is, pretty much the solar system. It is the solar system that we revolve around. And so the sun sheds the light on a current situation. And it's balancing the energies of that intense Pluto Mars and that Mercury Venus. So we need to find what that balance is and work with that balance so that we can approach the energies of the day in like kind. Okay. So the sun, um, it's it it's where it is, and we need to respect how the energies interact with the sun. And then let's talk about Saturn Neptune. Saturn Neptune is is an energy that there's a lot to say about that. We could go into a whole other two or three, four shows talking about this particular configuration because what's happening is they're both entering the sign of Aries. They're in Pisces right now in the later degrees. And when they enter Aries, then the flavor changes. Saturn and Neptune will take on a different kind of energy because Aries is that independent, fierce, fiery kind of energy. Right now, it's in that very subtle Neptunian, Piscean energy. And yeah, it's getting ready to break out. And I think we feel that. I think we feel that. And so we want to be careful with how we handle the Saturn Neptune energies because this is where reality meets illusion. And so we can be deceived. AI, fake news, all those things that we think are real and aren't real. Or we can bring the imagination, which is Neptune, into Saturn, which is the reality, and express it in a very positive way. And I hope that's the direction that we take with this particular energy. Okay, I don't want to really belabor this too much. Let's move on to the other harmonics or vibrations, but realize that in vibration one chart, a lot of stuff is going on. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how the week unfolds. And here we see a graph that highlights the various energies. And you'll see that gray line on the top, spanning Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, fading out Friday, and so on and so forth. That is that vibration one energy that blends and concentrates the energies I was just talking about. But if we look beyond the chart at the other vibrations that are happening, we see that there's a lot more going on. So, for example, if you look at the blue line, which is the creative and flowing line, notice that it has, peaks and valleys and so on and so forth. There's a lot of energy, a lot of planetary interactions that happen within each of these vibrations. I'm going to focus on just a few of them and hopefully bring to the fore some of the more uh, kind of strengthening kinds of energies that we can take advantage of. And when I say take advantage of, I mean align with. Okay, I don't mean to take over the stars. So in the five vibe, we see on Monday and Tuesday especially, we have a Jupiter Neptune configuration. And when Jupiter and Neptune come together, we talk about an awakening of the sense of oneness. And I think, we feel an expanded consciousness that reaches far and above beyond ourselves, the community, our family, and it reaches to the fact that we're all one in this world. And if this is happening in the five vibe, then what we're doing is we are allowing it to create something that is masterful, something that is beautiful and wonderful. And so I think this energy calls for us to dream big, because Jupiter is big, Neptune is dreaming. Dream big and allow the creative forces to enfold that dream and make something happen out of it. Also happening in the 5 vibe, in this creative flowing vibe, if you will, is the Pluto and the nodes. Pluto is that depth, that intensity. Pluto is transformational, and when it comes together with the nodes, that means we do it in groups. What can we do that's transformational, deep, and insightful within groups? Think about that. This is how we respond to events. This is how we not only react, but proact in positive ways. I'm going to move on to the 9 vibe. And by the way, those are Mondays and Tuesdays. So today and tomorrow, you're going to find that Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto node in the 5 vibe, you know, kind of taking form. Let's jump to the 7 vibe instead. That's the black line. And wherever you see the black line, you see stillness, inner wisdom, and focus. That vibe 7 kind of brings us into the spiritual space, if you will. It's it's like the image that comes to my mind is a meditative space. It's a space that one goes to really get in tune with one's higher self. And the energies that are happening there is a Jupiter node energy. So Jupiter, again, is an expansive kind of energy. It's also very wise. Jupiter is wisdom. It's guru in Sanskrit. And so what we want to do is find out how we can use that wisdom, that generosity, that expansion with others, which is the node, with others in this deep, quiet space. So maybe we think about, forming meditation groups to meditate on peace, for example, or meditate on, moving the world into a different direction, moving our lives into a different direction. And I think we can do that. Then we get to the 9 vibe, and the 9 vibe is the green line, the healing and harmony. Boy, couldn't we use that right now? And this is predominantly Venus and Mercury configurations. Remember, there are a lot of different aspects that are happening, a lot of different planets that are operating within each vibration. I'm just picking out a few that look like they are kind of rising to the top and calling for our attention. So Mercury and Venus. Mercury is our expressive nature. Mercury wants us to talk about and communicate about things. Venus is peace, it's compassion, it's love. We need to talk more about love and compassion in these days and ages. Let it be, okay? And it's doing it in the healing and harmony aspect of vibration 9. And then if we look at vibration 11, this shows us where we're restless and we want to move things along progressively to another dimension, if you will. And we have a Jupiter Pluto happening on Saturday and Monday, especially. And then we also have Uranus Neptune on Sunday and Monday. Both emphasize the Neptunian quality flavor. And that quality flavor, of course, Neptunian is imagination, inspiration. It's what links us to the other world, if you will. And especially when we talk about Uranus, Neptune, we're talking about a very quick, intuitive process. And so it calls for us to take those intuitive flashes and use them in a very progressive way, since it's happening in vibration 11. And then finally, vibration 13, we're looking at the pink line. I guess that's purple, purple violet. And this is our excellence and transformation line. This is where we go above and beyond mediocrity, above the ordinary, and we transcend into another world where things can be better. And there we have Mars and Neptune. Mars is the planet of action, and with Neptune, it's saying, let's make our dreams come true. So think about how we can do that. And that's primarily on that Thursday of this week. When we talk about the other aspect that's happening on that same day, actually Thursday, we're talking about Neptune and the nodes. Again, doing spiritual work with others is the key here. So, this is what you have for this week. And I hope you can take these energies and use them in a way that is beneficial not only to yourself and your family and friends and your close environment, but also for the world. And remember, you do have a choice. I like to say, which frequencies do you choose